Welcome to the Dudley Awards, sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our special presentation of the Dudley and Lanier Awards here on CBS 6. This will be the 33rd year that the Dudley Award is given to the state's best player in Division I, FBS or FCS, and it is named for the man that many believe was Virginia's first football superstar. Bullet Bill Dudley was born in Bluefield, Virginia, back in 1921. At just 16 years of age, he was awarded a scholarship to play football at the University of Virginia, where he excelled in all three phases of the game and became UVA's first ever All-American. He was the first overall pick in the 1942 NFL Draft, taken by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was an All-Pro in his very first season, and his 12-year NFL career was interrupted only by his military service during World War II. The NFL MVP in 1946 and has been enshrined into both the college and pro football halls of fame. Dudley handed out this award personally until just before his death in 2010. But his name and reputation live on through one of the most prestigious honors any Virginia player can earn. And as we just showed you, for many years, Mr. Dudley himself was on hand to present this award. We miss him every year, but we are happy to have his son Jim with us this year to talk about the man immortalized with this honor. How long has it been since you've seen some of those photos and video?
A few of them, the color ones I haven't seen in a while. I saw those on YouTube years ago. And then I did a video voiceover for some of those Carolina footage.
Oh, right.
For the Carolina game, if they didn't put it on the Jumbotron, but we were hoping they would.
What do you remember? What are your earliest memories of him talking about his playing days when you guys were kids?
Dad didn't really talk about it a whole lot unless there was friends of his around talking about it, and he would correct them. And then when I was trying to pick up the game, he would talk about it in depth, about what I was doing wrong and how to do it right. And then I found out years later, as I got older, a lot of the stuff he did wrong, but he made it work. And but he loved the game. Game gave him the opportunities to do things he never would have been able to do otherwise. He'd have still been in Bluefield, chasing chickens or something.
Did he ever coach? And if not, would he have made a good coach?
I think he could have made a good coach. He always said he would have made a good coach. He was convinced of that. He did not go into coaching full-time because he didn't want to move. He said, coaching, you have to win. And to win, you have to be willing to move because you're not going to win all the time. And he did assistant coaching up at Virginia, and he coached with the Redskins as well as at Yale for a season. So, and he would have been, I think in today's times, he might have been a little bit too much of a disciplinarian because he was always very black and white, my way or the highway kind of guy. And if you didn't like it, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
How much did this award keep him in touch with the game later on in life?
I think he kept up with the game. I think Willie would probably attest to that. Daddy kept involved with the College Hall of Fame as well as the National Football League Hall of Fame. He scouted for years after, to the time I was probably, 11, 12 years old. He constantly was watching games, betting on games, reading about it. He loved the game, so he stayed in touch with it right much. The award, I think, kept him, gave him extra enthusiasm as opposed to just habitually sticking to the game because he loved the game, but I think it added to his enthusiasm.
We're happy to have you here. Jim's going to come back later in the show to help present the award to this year's winner. And here are this fall's 3 Dudley finalists, presented in alphabetical order. In his first and only year with the Dukes, our first finalist led James Madison to an 8-3 record in their first year at the FBS level. He was the Sun Belt Offensive Player and Newcomer of the Year, after throwing for nearly 2,700 yards and 25 touchdowns with only 5 interceptions. He was second in the nation in yards per completion and yards per pass attempt. He was also 4th in the country in passing efficiency. He also had 4 games with at least 4 passing touchdowns and 3 games in which he scored or accounted for at least 5 touchdowns. In addition to being a Dudley finalist, he's also on the watch list for the Maxwell, Manning, and Davey O'Brien Awards. From James Madison, quarterback Todd Centio. Our second finalist was named the CAA Defensive Player of the Year after recording 11.5 sacks, 4th nationally, and 19 tackles for a loss, which was 5th in the country. He led his team in tackles and quarterback hurries, as his unit was 8th nationally in scoring defense and 7th in forced turnovers. He needed just a half a sack to tie his school's single-season record and had that opportunity as they played in the quarterfinals of the FCS playoffs. From William and Mary, linebacker John Pius. Our last finalist also spent just 1 year with his current team, but made it one to remember. He was first team All-CAA after setting a school record by completing 73% of his passes. He threw for over 3,600 yards and 29 touchdowns against only 4 interceptions, while leading the country in completions per game and finishing 2nd in completion percentage. He is just the 3rd in his program's history to top the 3,000-yard passing mark in a single season, and for his career, finished 2nd in FCS history with over 11,400 yards in the air. From the University of Richmond, quarterback Reese Udinsky. And those are our 3 finalists. But back in 2004, it was noted that the Dudley Award was centering more on players from the bigger schools, and outside of one recipient, the smaller programs were being left out. So an award for players below the D1 level was given their own honor, and it was named after one of the greatest to ever play the game. Willie Lanier has been named on just about every all-time NFL roster that's ever been created. He was an 8-time Pro Bowl member, 8-time All-Pro, and is a member of the College and Pro Football Halls of Fame. He continues to be a source of inspiration and knowledge for all of us inside and outside the game. Once again, Mr. Lanier has graced us with his presence to hand out this award. Thank you again for being here. How much does this award keep you in touch with the game, like for the Dudley family, back here in your home state?
Well, it's in the same way that Bill is in the College and Pro Football Hall of Fame, so am I. So we overlap in those responsibilities, but adding to it, because I attended at a historically black college, then therefore the historically black college, which we have a group that comes together and we do the same thing. And we have a game in Canton, Ohio with the HBCUs, and we're able to just expand on that. So it's been one where you stay close to it because it's everywhere. And the expansion of the game and the way it's played and the way it's televised and just this continuation is very positive and gives a chance for a lot of young men to have the opportunity to enjoy the journey and see where it might take them.
The opportunity that you had compared to what they have now, transfer portal, back and forth programs all over the place, it's enough to make your head spin sometimes. But can you imagine what players might have been able to do back in your day if they had the opportunities that players today have?
Well, what happens, as I would offer my comments, is that the utilization of fairness and balance, control of, and all of those kind of things, all of that came into being of where you could go and what school you could attend and what opportunities you might have. So all of that had to work its own self out over a long period of time. And once it has done that, you get a better balance of the relationship with the college, the amateurism, NIL, all of those things had to have a way to find themselves to create a balance. And I think once they did that, And I'll just use an example of someone from Richmond, Russell Wilson, who played at, I believe it was North Carolina State, but he was able to go on to the University of Wisconsin because he had completed his degree requirements and he didn't have to sit out a year. So there were all these impediments that were put in place to block one from the fairness that is required in a capitalistic system where everybody's equal. So all of those things had to work themselves out as all of that has gone on, and then you see the product that you have today.
You went to Morgan State.
Yes, sir.
How many other opportunities did you have for other schools to play?
Well,
real quick.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I was undersized when I was coming out of Maggie Walker. I probably weighed, I say undersized, probably 205, 206. And Virginia State offered me a scholarship, and I also went down to North Carolina Central for a visit. So the only school that offered me a scholarship was Virginia State. But then in the summer of that year, my high school quarterback had gone to Morgan State. I thought my better opportunities for business would be further north. I called the coach at Morgan State, Earl Banks, first week of June, told him I wanted to go to his school. He said he knew nothing about me. I said, I seen your film, seen your transcripts. So I did that, and I went up to Morgan. He was enthused because I'm a confident young man. So I ended up fortunately scoring in the top 10% of the incoming freshman class. With that, he said he had no money. I said I didn't come asking for money. So then we worked it out, and I was able to be a walk-on at Morgan State. So that's how my college came to be.
There are two finalists for Mr. Lanier's award this year. They represent some of the best performances in the Commonwealth. Here they are, again, in alphabetical order. Our first finalist led the nation and set a new CIAA record with over 1,928 yards rushing this year and 2,256 all-purpose yards. He averaged nearly 7 yards per carry and scored 19 touchdowns, leading his school to the second round of the Division II playoffs and a division championship. He is also the first from his program to be named a finalist for the Harlan Hill Award, presented nationally to the best Division II player in the country. From Virginia Union, running back Jada Byers. Our second finalist led the Yellow Jackets to their first 10-0 season in school history and the second round of the Division III playoffs. He led all of college football, all levels, in completion percentage, passing efficiency, and yards per attempt. He threw for nearly 2,300 yards and 23 touchdowns with only 2 interceptions. He was named first team All-ODAC and was the conference's Offensive Player of the Year while helping his program set a new record for victory. From Randolph-Macon, quarterback Drew Campanale. Coming up after the break, honoring the men who roam the sidelines. We'll tell you who won the Coach of the Year awards, plus position by position. We'll list the most outstanding players who took the field this season. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the Dudley Awards, sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Welcome back, everyone. For many years now, the Touchdown Club of Richmond has honored football effort across the state in conjunction with the presentation of the Dudley and Lanier Awards. At the Division I level, the Coach of the Year award is named for Richmond native Bobby Ross, who won a national title at Georgia Tech and took San Diego to the Super Bowl. This year's Bobby Ross Division I Coach of the Year is no stranger to football fans across the state. William & Mary is the third program Mike London has guided after stops at Richmond and UVA. In Williamsburg, he took a team picked to finish 5th and guided them to their first outright CAA title in years, along with setting a school record for regular season wins. The Tribe is seeded 5th in this year's FCS playoffs and already has a second-round win over Gardner-Webb last Saturday. London is a finalist for the Eddie Robinson Award given to the National Coach of the Year at the FCS level, and now has his first Bobby Ross Award.
Mary, I want to say how grateful and thankful I am to be named the Bobby Ross Coach of the Year in the state of Virginia. It means a lot to me, particularly from an individual that played high school ball here and went to college here in the state of Virginia. Coach Ross, as we all know, was a former football coach here at William & Mary. I coached with his son, Kevin, at UVA back in the day, and just it means so much to be recognized by your in-state people that recognize football and the excellence to that. So, again, I appreciate you. I thank you, and I'm excited about accepting this reward and representing Coach Ross in terms of all the things he's done and what he means to college football. Thank you very much.
And much like the Willie Lanier Award was created to honor players at the lower levels of football, the Willard Bailey Award does the same for coaches at the Division II, III, or NAIA level. Coach Bailey led 4 different programs, most notably Virginia Union and Norfolk State. He won 238 games and 7 CIAA championships. He made the Division II playoffs for 7 straight years from 1979 to 1984. In a repeat from last year, Randolph-Macon's Pedro Aruza has won this year's Willard Bailey Award after guiding the Yellow Jackets to a program record for wins in a season and another ODAC championship. Aruza won the school's first home playoff game with a win over Cortland State and also won his 5th ODAC Coach of the Year honor. Randolph-Macon made the second round of the Division III playoffs, as well as dominated the All-ODAC honors with 17 different players touted by the conference.
It's an honor for me to accept this award on behalf of our coaching staff, our players, and our entire football program. We had a historic season at Randolph-Macon this year, and so much of that is due to the work of our assistant coaches and the job that they did in preparing our kids week in and week out for games. And we had a great group of seniors. We had 33 seniors in our program, including 8 fifth-year seniors who did a great job of competing every week, who did a great job of leading our team and creating an atmosphere where we had great team chemistry and everybody pulling in the same direction. So really proud of our kids, really proud of our staff. Football is the ultimate team game, and this award is a reflection of everything that our coaches and our players poured into this season.
The Touchdown Club of Richmond also honors Players of the Year across the state at individual positions for both Division I programs and for the smaller schools. The players are nominated by their respective programs, and the TD Club membership votes on each position. There are all kinds of players honored by the Touchdown Club, 14 in all. These are this fall's winners. We also want to take a moment to pay tribute to 3 promising young football players whose lives were lost at the University of Virginia last month. Tonight, we honor the memories of Deshaun Perry, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Devin Chandler. The 3 were shot and killed after returning to UVA after a field trip on November 13th. All 3 are being awarded posthumous degrees following the tragedy. They have been described as great teammates who wore constant smiles and sought to brighten the lives of those around them, from fellow players to other students and fans. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Dudley Awards, sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
Welcome back, everyone. Along with coaches and players, the Touchdown Club of Richmond also honors others who contribute to the game. Ray Tate was an All-Southern Conference guard for the Richmond Spiders back in 1965. After his playing days were over, he stayed with the Spiders as a coach and later as their longtime radio analyst until 2004. Altogether, Tate spent 50 years in and around college football, and the award that bears his name is given annually to an individual who exemplifies Coach Tate's dedication to the sport. The 2022 Ray Tate Award winner is longtime Fork Union coach John Schumann. Originally hired back in 1980, Schumann took over the Fork Union program in 1987 and won 190 games over the next 32 seasons. His final team was also his first undefeated one, going 9-0 back in 2018. The list of NFL players that Schumann coached and mentored is extensive, including Plaxico Burress, Morgan Moses, Michael Thomas, and Jim Druckenmiller, among dozens of others. Schumann is a 1980 graduate of VMI and is in their Hall of Fame, as well as his hometown Salem, New Jersey Hall of Fame.
I am incredibly grateful to receive the Touchdown of Richmond's Ray Tate Award. Personally, Ray Tate was a great man who was well respected in his field. Here at Fork Union Military Academy, I had the honor of coaching his nephews Brock and Tate. Additionally, I'm very honored to join a list of prestigious recipients, including Jeff Hansen, Joe Taylor, Donnie White, Hank Norton, Matt Kelchner, Charlie Coe, Tommy Throckmorton, and Jim Cavanaugh. Again, I am honored and humbled to receive this award. Thank you very much.
The Gold Flag Award was created a few years ago to honor the officials without whom the game would, at any level, would not be possible. These men and women are as passionate about the game as the players and coaches themselves, and this award helps shed a light on their contributions to the game. This year's Gold Flag honoree is longtime high school official Ray Beasley. A graduate of John Marshall, he was on the Justices state championship team in 1940 that was undefeated and unscored upon. After serving in World War II, Beasley returned to Virginia Tech, where he played on the Hokies' first major bowl team that went to the Sun Bowl. He became a high school official in 1950 and served until his retirement in 1985, having officiated 8 state finals during his career. In 1955, he was also an official for the Southern Conference, where he was honored twice with their Silver Whistle Award, the highest honor for a Southern Conference official. And as much as they do on the field, there are several college athletes who do great things off the field. Wells Fargo Advisors has stepped up to honor one such player in Virginia each year with their Humanitarian Award. It's designed to show appreciation for a player whose efforts extend beyond the classroom and the field and into the communities in which they live and play. This year's Wells Fargo Humanitarian Award winner is Chase Chalmers from the University of Virginia. The junior safety is leader of the Groundskeepers, a collection of athletes and coaches working for social justice and equity. Chase helped organize a unity walk earlier this year through Charlottesville's historic landmarks. He has also worked with and mentored middle school students in and around Charlottesville, and once a week visited a local elementary school through a program with the YMCA, and visited with a local youth football team as they performed a service project at the local Ronald McDonald House. Chalmers also got his teammates involved with Chala for Hunger to benefit organizations fighting food insecurity and helped build a walking bridge for Camp Holiday Trails. In the classroom, Chase is on the ACC Academic Honor Roll and has earned the UVA Distinguished Student Athlete Scholarship Award.
Hi, I'm Chase Chalmers, and I want to thank Wells Fargo Advisors and the Richmond Touchdown Club for this honor. Personally, I absolutely believe that there is a huge portion of student athletes who are engaging in community engagement activities. It's just not as well known as I'd like it to be. I really like to work with school children because they are wonderful young individuals who are always seeking knowledge, who are seeking opportunities to express themselves and get their hands on new things that they've never experienced. And education is a great way to teach them new things, have them learn new material, new subjects, new languages, anything under the sun, and it's a wonderful time. It is my honor to be the recipient of the Humanitarian Award this year.
Rise up! Up next, the last of our honors are still to come. The presentation of this fall's Dudley and Lanier Awards is next.
Welcome back to the Dudley Awards, sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
We have handed out just about everything that we have here. It's time now for the two biggest honors of the night. Up first, the Willie Lanier Award, given to the Player of the Year in Division II, III, or the NAIA level. And to present the award named in his honor, we welcome back NFL Hall of Famer Willie Lanier.
On behalf of the Richmond Times-Dispatch and the Touchdown Club of Richmond, it is my honor to present this year's Lanier Award to Jada Byers, running back from Virginia Union University.
Jada Byers ran for close to 2,000 yards this year. He is the second Virginia Union Panther to win this award after Shaheem Dowdy in 2005. Congratulations to you.
Appreciate it.
You know, I have to tell you, every time you ran for like 200 yards a game, we're like, wow, that was a really good game, but maybe he'll come back to earth next week. No, you ran for 200 yards again. Well, can he keep doing this? You kept doing it all season long. How did you manage to be so successful and have the season that you did?
I've been managed to be successful because my coach put me in the best opportunities for me to get the ball, and also I got the best front five in the nation, like I always told everybody. It's not about me, it's about that front five that's in front of me. You know, times in the day out that we do in practice, and I tell everybody there would be no Jada Byers without that front five.
But did you think back in August that a season like this might be even remotely possible?
I wouldn't say remotely possible like this, but I say yes. But I didn't expect the biggest season I had this year because I always told myself the only person that motivates me really is myself. Every year I try to chase what I did last year. Last year as a freshman I had 910 yards. My goal this year was to get 2,000 yards. And I was pretty much a reach of it for 80 yards short, but I feel as though I did what I had to do.
Now, you were speaking with Mr. Lanier off camera, and you got a brand new turf field over there that has his name on it. And he asked you, how much did that field go towards you being able to have the kind of season you had? What kind of a difference was it?
It's a great difference because usually where I come from, I'm used to a kid that just run around playing on grass and just actually be able to play on turf because I didn't have turf in high school. So when I got to college, it just felt great to know the history of that field and that he's put his heart and soul into that field. It just feels great. It's a 10 out of 10 in my eyes.
Congratulations, Jada Byers, winner of the 2022 Willie Lanier Award. Well done. Hope see you back again very soon. Now, as for this year's Dudley winner, once again, here are the three finalists. In alphabetical order, they are quarterback Todd Centio from James Madison, linebacker John Pius from William & Mary, and Richmond quarterback Reese Udinsky. And joining us again to hand out this year's Bill Dudley Award to the best player in Division I throughout the Commonwealth, we welcome back Bill's son, Jim Dudley.
On behalf of the Richmond Times-Dispatch and the Touchdown Club of Richmond, Virginia, I am proud to announce Reese Udinsky as the winner of the Dudley Award for 2022.
Reese Udinsky, just the second Spider to win the Dudley Award after Mark Megna was honored back in 1998. This is the fifth straight year a quarterback from the Commonwealth has taken home the top prize. Reese also joins us live in studio. Congratulations to you. Again, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Jada. Did you have any idea that a season like this was going to be possible back in August?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to the other two finalists on great years. They did a great job. But this year was really special, and it's a credit to my teammates and my coaches putting together all the work in the off season. And at the beginning of the season, we knew we had a good team. We knew if we just came together, we could be really special. And I think looking back, it was a great year.
Why did you pick Richmond in the first place? I know some of the coaching and the opportunity had a lot to do with it, but why Richmond for your final year?
Right. Well, first of all, Richmond's a great school academically and athletically. And then just the comfortability that I had with some of the coaches and players. When I met a lot of the coaches, they were tremendous people. Met a lot of the players, they were also great, accepted me with open arms. And, I'm very thankful for all of them because they made my transition a lot easier.
You're in the Spider record books now forever. I mean, you can't. What does that mean to you to be able to come to a place just 1 year and already you're up and down their record books to give, to have the season that they haven't seen in a while?
Yeah, it's a great honor. I mean, at the end of the day, it has my name on those record books, but it's a lot of credit to my coaches and my teammates, of course. But just to be able to represent the University of Richmond is really a great honor, and it's been an awesome season. My time at Richmond was short, but it's been so much fun, and the memories I made will last forever.
Real quick, what's next?
Right now I'm planning on continuing my football career, trying to make it as far as I can. But, it's been a long ride, and, I just want to keep this thing going.
Well, we have no doubt that you will do that to the best of your ability. We appreciate it. Reese Udinsky, the 2022 Dudley Award winner. We would like to congratulate all of tonight's winners one more time and thank the schools for their help with the presentations. We'd also like to thank our general manager, Stephen Hayes, always a big supporter of this broadcast, and David Stotts in our promotions department for all of his hard work. We'd like to give a special thank you to Paige, Lucy, and the team at Renewal by Anderson for their support of events across Central Virginia. For the Hall of Famer Willie Lanier, Jim Dudley, and everybody here at CBS 6, I'm Len Casadante. Thank you for watching tonight, everyone. So long.
Thanks for watching the Dudley Awards, sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.